and welcome to Chat Happens, the That Happens after show. I'm your host, Spencer Crittenden, and we're going to be cracking into all the exciting gossip and behind-the-scenes talk from That Happens, the podcast we all know and love. The podcast that was deemed important enough to fucking, have an after show. Who would have thought? Not Kevin, the person who's pictured, and I don't know if he's muted. He certainly seems to not be talking. He doesn't look like you're muted, but I don't know. What's up, Kevin? It shows you. Or is it showing
Me?
you for you? Yeah,
no,
I have a yellow box.
I'm seeing you.
Okay, so that's just my glitch then. My yellow box went to you, Kevin, and I'm sorry for introducing. But you're my sturdy co-host. I think of you as a sturdy guy. I don't know if that tracks with you. But what did you think about this week's episode? It's time for the post show. The breakdown. The what are your picks and pans?
I mean, I feel like this is going to go down in history as one of our most iconic episodes. Like one day in the future when like historians are going through famous podcasts of the past, this is going to be the one they show clips from.
Yeah, I love, trauma dumping on Ryan Ridley. I love talking about the moon and Minecraft. It was great. But that's enough of pretending the podcast is a different premise. I'm Spencer. I said that already, but now we're resetting. You know what? Why don't you hit us with the theme again, Kevin?
Okay.
Slow on the uptake. Kevin's out of sorts, you guys. Hello, welcome to Kevin's Shame, the podcast that rips on Kevin for fucking up very mildly once every 20 podcast records or so, and demonizes him for things that aren't at all his fault and are usually my misconceptions. I'm your host, Spencer Crittenden, and today we got an exciting guest. Bill Hanstock is here, the at Sundown Motel. Or is it hotel? I don't know. Writer for other stuff. Sporto, you're a big sporto. Is that true?
I'm a moderate sporto.
Okay,
but I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. Thanks so much. It was a long time coming. It was such a long time coming that you were supposed to be on, I think, in November, and I don't even know. What the fuck even happened, Kevin? Do you know what happened towards the end of the year? Like, we were meeting guests, and then we didn't get them, right? And so it would have been perfect.
I think all of us just assumed somebody else was booking them, and we didn't book any. Probably my fault.
No. Well, that's the theme of the show, is it was your fault. So, yes, I will let you take the fall for that. But, so, Bill, what's up? You liked Harmontown, right? What's the deal? I mean, I'm not looking for compliments at all, but what's your access with Harmontown?
No, I loved Harmontown. Harmontown was... my favorite podcast for many a year. I actually just the other day was recommended the Harmontown documentary clip on YouTube of writing Chicken Noodle Dick, and it's just a great song, great clip. Every time I eat Pringles, I think of you. So it's Harmontown amazing, Harmon Quest amazing. Long time, first time, I guess. I do want to backtrack a little bit to Chat Happens, because the after show, the sporadic after show for Better Call Saul is called Talking Saul, because the Breaking Bad after show is called Talking Bad. I think that's why, and Talking Dead. So I think that they have talking as the universe. It's the talking universe. When Better Talk Saul is right there and makes more sense, but instead we have Talking Saul twice a season because Chris Hardwick can't be bothered to work every week and no one would watch it anyway, I guess.
Now, what I would call it is Better Call Saul ... to talk. But yeah, no, I think you're right that it harkens back from The Walking Dead, and then it has expanded to all sorts of things that really that are not appropriate to call it, to use the talking. It just doesn't fit. It's not a good pun. It's not good. Kevin,
isn't it also strange that we've already evolved from a society where shows on AMC were so popular that they demanded an after show that you would immediately tune into afterwards, and now like even that is a vestige of the past. Like that, even that is outdated at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, I think it was like less that fans were like beating down the door demanding more content, and more that networks were like, you know what, this IP hasn't been stretched thin enough. We could pay next to nothing for a talk show format that's unscripted, or minimally scripted, like with bits or something. It's more segment produced than anything, I would guess, and and just coast off that for another block of television. It's also weird just because like AMC doesn't have commercials. I mean, that was always a streaming service when like Walking Dead was on, right? Was it on television?
No, it was on television. I watched it on real ass television.
Yeah, it's just like, I guess that's why. It's just, to me, it's like, I don't see the value in that without commercials, because it's like, well, you're not getting more people in the door, Yeah,
but like even at this point, even network execs they don't even bother to produce a free show at this point. Like, we have Chris Hardwick on payroll or whatever, but it's not even worth him driving in to talk to like two tertiary members of the cast. Like, that's not even worth our time. We'll just throw up a rerun of, I don't even know what AMC shows reruns of. I don't know, probably Charmed. Everything's Charmed.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. It's not worth my time either. I don't know. It's definitely, we definitely moved on. I was going to say that there was a Rick and Morty after show for season 4, maybe season 3. No, it must have been season 4 or 5. And I want to say it was called Ricking Morty, which is, again, just like, Rick and Morty's titles are always just like Rick and Morty puns. So it was basically Talking Morty, but calling it Ricking Morty, I believe. But that's actually good. I think that Ricking Morty is a pretty good title. What about?
I was not even aware that existed. Who hosted that?
I think Sam J hosted it, but I don't know if she hosted the whole thing or she just hosted some episodes. I think they might have switched hosts at some point. I can't remember. I was not involved. I just remember all the fervor and the buzz of activity of everyone freaking out, trying to book and like Steve. I want to say that Steve Levy, like, I don't know. This was about the time of the fall of the Castle, when the Castle was a public venue for a very short period of time and then it got shut down. I think like it was originally supposed to take place at the Castle, and then Steve had to like really scramble and like book other venues and really do a lot of stuff really fast to kind of make sure it worked. And it was just a nightmare headache for everyone who cared. But that did not include me, because I'm sure I was doing something else. But yeah.
Yeah, that had our Harmontown's Zach McKeever on sound, and Chris Boroff, who was the Harmontown director, who did cameras for all that. So yeah, it was sort of a Harmontown.
Yeah, so it was fucking
it was
bullshit. They had to really call in all the favors to even get that off the ground. But are there any more good questions about Harmon content that you'd like to be asked about?
No, well, I could. I mean, if I still had a podcast, I'd have you on it to just ask you Harmontown questions. But
hell yeah! Well, you've had podcasts. I've done some cursory research, and it looked like you were doing podcasts, but I didn't actually pull anything up. What were your podcasting exploits?
I'm not currently doing podcasts. I did a podcast that was on Progressive Boink for several years, and then I was doing various pro wrestling podcasts for various sites that I was working for. And most recently, I had a podcast with a couple of friends where we went chronologically through the music of the Insane Clown Posse. And we managed to get through all 3 Joker's cards. It started before I had a child and finished after I had a child. And I took a good amount of time off in between there. But that's called the Dim Carnival. If anyone ever wants to listen to three woke white guys talk about Insane Clown Posse for 100+ episodes.
If it's going to be 3 white guys, you got to hope they're woke. I guess you could go in the other direction and be like 3 really hard right-wing white guys, but that's a whole different kind of like theme, like it really changes the math.
There are some less woke Insane Clown Posse podcasts out there, as you might imagine, but none. The ones that are offering critiques tend to be more on the leftist side of things.
What's the overall balance for ICP fans? Like, how many are left versus right versus none of the above?
They're pretty much all at least like centrist to left leaning, because like, although there's a lot of like really gross like misogynistic stuff in the early ICP days, their stance has always been fuck bigots, fuck the Confederate flag, fuck racists. That's like been their like MO since day one. So like that attitude doesn't tend to like attract a ton of MAGA dudes. The MAGA juggalos tend to be more fans of like Twisted and like ICP related acts than Insane Clown Posse themselves.
Yeah. Well, what'd you think? You listened to all of it. Well, what you got? Were you a fan? Were you kind of like, I guess this is better than I expected? Like, what'd you go in with it and what'd you come out with?
Oh, well, all of us were like big fans. Like it's like basically like my two best friends and I doing the podcast, but like one of my friends was the first person who ever played Insane Clown Posse for me, and like 98, 99, somewhere in there, played me a tape of Great Malenko, and like we were just laughing our asses off. So like ever since then, like I was listening to Insane Clown Posse like from the late 90s on, and my other friend who's on the podcast, he was tuned into them much earlier than that. So like we were all big fans, stretching back to the 90s, and then like we sort of like most people who listen to ICP in that era, like stopped listening to them for a long period of time, and then like sort of became adults and or middle-aged, and got to a point where we're like, you know what, I still enjoy a good amount of that music, but we wanted to sort of revisit it and be like, let's examine why we liked it then, why we like or dislike a lot of it now. That was just, it started as an excuse for us to just keep talking to each other because we live in different places, but and it like sort of continued to be that. But in between, we did a lot of reflection and self-examination, and really talked a lot more about Insane Clown Posse than you could probably imagine that people would, and as I continue to do to this very second.
Sure. I mean, it's podcasting is something that follows you. You touch people's hearts and their minds and their memories.
That's what the sequel to It Follows should be, is people just unable to stop podcasting.
Yeah,
you have sex with a podcaster, and then you have to have a podcast.
Yeah, so like would it stop following you while you were recording, but in between like records and stuff, it would follow you around, so you'd have to like,
well, you can't stop
Zoom.
You can't stop your podcast until you have sex with someone else who then has to start a podcast.
So these are really long podcasts. We're talking like stretching the limits of an SD card, huh?
Well, I mean, you can't end your podcast. Like you can't stop. You can't miss a week.
You can't miss a week, so it has to be weekly. Okay, yeah, I was like, but there's like monthly podcasts and podcasts that say they're still alive and they keep the fucking name, so you can't use their name, but it's not like they ever fucking make new episodes, So yeah, I think that's a fair trade-off. You can't miss a week, otherwise you're just done. So let's go back. Whoa, tell me about young Bill Hanstock.
How young?
I don't know. That's not a question I would have expected myself to ask, but it just came out. I don't know. Like, what were you like in high school? What was high school like for you? Was it good, bad? I don't know. For me, it was like, it wasn't hard. I didn't have a ton of friends, but it was like, oh, I can do school. So it's like, I'll just focus on doing school. And then it wasn't until later that I was like, I really did that wrong. I should not have just focused on school during high school.
Yeah. I think I have a non-common experience, or maybe I have the most common experience. I don't actually know don't have any perspective on this, but for me, high school was I didn't peak in high school or anything, but high school was like great for the most part, like especially like junior, senior year. I was voted class clown in my senior year. I was like really popular. There was a guy I was popular to the point where like I didn't realize how popular I was like at the time. But then like the year after I graduated, I was in like Walmart in my hometown, and a guy who had gotten drafted out of high school by the St. Louis Cardinals, who opted to go to Berkeley instead, and eventually ended up playing for the Yankees and won a ring with the Giants and stuff. Like, I was in Walmart and he was in town visiting the year after he graduated. We both graduated, and I don't remember that I had ever spoken to him in school. But I was in Walmart and I hear someone go, "Hey, Bill," and I turn around and it's the guy who had gotten drafted to Major League Baseball and like went to got a full scholarship instead. And he was like, "Hey man, how you been?" And I was like, "Good. Probably not as good as you playing baseball, like getting paid to play baseball." But he just like hung out and chatted with me for a while, just because like he knew who I was, and then we went to school together. Like that was just a weird, like that was like the first like perspective I had of like I sort of had a reach in high school. But like I loved high school. I was like I said, like I got voted class clown. I was in drama. I was an honor thespian. My sophomore year, I was the editor of the school paper. But like I was I had a good time. I helped my drama team put on like an SNL night at school, and where we just did SNL sketches, and then we did a Monty Python night at school that like was so popular that we had to do like a second one. Like it was a lot of fun, and it was just a blast. And I was also like, it was also I can recognize that I was a real weird guy because just like for virtue of like I was like big, like I was like pretty big into youth group, but like I also like my sophomore junior year like got really into punk rock, but my dad was a cowboy, so I was still like listening to like country music and like wearing like lace up cowboy boots, and but my hair was bleached, so like I like wore like a flannel shirt over like a punk t-shirt most days, so like I could recognize like I had bad style choices, and I was into weird stuff. And like all my friends who were like into punk rock like consider me a huge poser, even though like I had like remained in punk rock to this day, and like all of them are like pastors now and like run wine bars or whatever. Like I don't know, it's just interesting. Like, so as long-winded way of saying like I've always been a weirdo, and I had a good time in high school.
Yeah. So, and you went to two different colleges, right? What was the deal there? So what was the first one was Monterey, right?
Yeah, I went to more than two colleges actually. So I went I went to junior college out of high school, and then I tried to go to San Francisco State the year I turned 21, after I finished got my associate's degree from the junior college. Tried to go to San Francisco State because I wanted to get into film, and I liked the film department, and at the time I didn't want to move to LA. So I went to San Francisco State, and then the first semester I was there, my downstairs neighbor in the house that I rented, it was my first time not living at home. My downstairs neighbor came home like really wasted one night and like tried to fight me. So I ended up moving out, and in the middle of the semester, so I moved to Oakland to live with my grandma for the remainder of the semester. And by the end of the semester, I was like having such a bad time because I had set up my semester so that I was going to school 6 days a week. So I was taking BART across the bay 6 days a week to go to San Francisco State. And by the end of the semester, I was like, I'm just so tired of this. So I asked San Francisco State if I could take the film classes that were offered at Cal State Monterey Bay, which was close enough to where my dad lived for me to just like drive to Monterey and drive back home to Salinas to go back to living at home and go to college. And I took it to the head of the cinema department at San Francisco State, and I was like, "Here's Cal State Monterey Bay's like film department." It was a combo film, television, and radio department. And at the time, the school was not accredited yet because it was such a new school, Cal State Monterey Bay. And the department was called Teledramatic Arts and Technology. It wasn't even called like film or radio or video. So I took the catalog to the guy, the head of the cinema department at San Francisco State, and I was like, "Are there any classes that I could take here that would be good at San Francisco? Like, could I go there for a semester and then transfer back here? And would you recognize any of these courses?" And he looked at the catalog and he's like, "None of these courses are real classes." It's like, none of this makes any sense to me, but I guess if you took this one and this one, yeah, we'd take you back. So I transferred to Cal State Monterey Bay with the intent to just go there for a semester. And then I just ended up staying at Cal State Monterey Bay until I got my bachelor's degree. And then I lived my life for many years until I was unemployed for nearly 2 straight years. And then I decided to go back and get my master's degree with the idea that I would go into teaching, since there were no other foreseeable careers coming my way. And so I got my master's at Cal State Los Angeles. And while I was doing within 6 months of me getting my master's degree, I accidentally started a sports writing career. And so it ended up being a terrible decision to go to get my master's degree, because I had put myself through my bachelor's. Like, I had paid for myself to go to college to get my bachelor's, and then I ended up having to take out loans to get my master's. And so now I'm in like a bunch of student loan debt, as is most of the country. So really, really bad decision on my part. But, none of us believe we're making bad decisions at the time we're making them. So.
Yeah, and also they try to convince you it's like the best decision you can be making, and it's an investment and all this stuff. It's just like, hey, it's important for us to trap you into a predatory loan. I don't know how much I've ranted about this, but college didn't used to have what they call the course shopping cart model, which was kind of like this capitalism-sized version of education. It's not like all bad, but generally it's like, oh, if you wanted to do this, if you wanted this degree, here's all the classes you need to take, and it was already scheduled. It wasn't like, oh, there's these ones on Sundays and these ones on Tuesdays. You just had to go when they were there, and that allowed it to be like cheaper because it required the teachers to be there less time and stuff, and also it just wasn't as broad. But as they converted it to the course shopping cart model, it's like, oh no, you buy the classes. These are classes you're putting in the shopping cart, and you can make your own schedule. And that just kind of turned it into like, let's just sell as many units as possible. And then that obviously fed into the scholarship thing, where the more scholarships they give, like the higher they can charge for admissions. It's this kind of knock-on effect that drove costs up a lot, and it got really bad. But after a while, then the course shopping cart model made it so like education isn't very what do you call it? Like standardized. It's like this class isn't the same as this other class, and you can take this class, and so it's like you could get through a whole degree without like taking the same stuff as other people. And so then the instruction kind of like waned because it had to be more modularized. It wasn't like, oh, this is part of this curriculum, it's just here's this block that we're selling. It's all a big mess. And then and then they got to sell all these fucking.
Also, like, my sister's like 6 years older than me. And like, I watched things go from like when my sister graduated, like it was a push of like, you're not gonna be able to get a very good job if you don't go to college. You're sort of going to be limited. And then by the time I got my bachelor's degree, it was like, you have to go to college or you're not going to get a job. And now it's like even more that. And my biggest takeaway from getting my master's is like, the difference between when I was in school, like it felt like the time between my bachelor's and master's, like, it didn't just feel like that. Like you become a human being between like after you like are at the age of getting your bachelor's degree. And it was just really funny to like, for me to be in my like mid to late 30s in school with all these like just out of high school people when I was like doing TA stuff, and also like just, like very early 20s people in the master's program. And like, I'm like just talking to teachers and like answering questions and having conversations and dialogue with them. And like everyone else is like just too afraid to like do anything in class. So like, it just seemed like I was cheating. Because like, it's like you get life experience, but like most of the people I was in classes with like hadn't had jobs yet. So it was like I just like understood like what it meant to like live a life. And I highly recommend whatever country you have to live in to like be in a situation where like you can take schooling at your convenience and your leisure, and not going into school when you have to because you're forced to.
Yeah, like I think to me, like part of my theory on adulthood's when you realize you can wield adulthood. You know, like when you're a kid, you feel like the world's just happening to you. And then at some point you start like yelling at someone, or you yell at a kid, or you square up or something. And then it's like, oh, people can just do whatever, and then there's not real like societal consequences for most forms of assholery. And like, I think that's kind of unlocking like adulthood. And from there, it's like, oh, I can actually shape a lot more of what's happening around me. And so, yeah, I think that would kind of put you at advantage, especially like in a school setting. I went to, a community college. I got an AA, not a real degree. But it was, I had a counselor or a therapist or whatever the fuck, I don't know, that would say like, the thing about community college is it's essentially just high school you can smoke at. Like no one is there. Like the very few people are there because they're like, really have a strategy. A lot of people are there because they kind of feel that they should be there. They're not able or willing to take the plunge into like a real university. And so like the engagement and the investment is just way lower. And that was my experience. I took a biology class where, a kid, I will say, yeah, I don't know how old we were, but I think he was older than me at the time, but made fun of me for accurately being able to answer the question, what is an invertebrate? Something that I easily knew in second grade.
Yeah.
And I took a philosophy class where the guy would talk, but everyone would just talk to each other louder than the guy was talking, and he would occasionally say like, hey, come on now, but like mostly he would just go on, and I'd be like, I literally cannot hear what you are saying, and then and also I took like I don't know, like an anatomy and sexuality class. This is the thing, I took some throwaway classes where like all they did was like watch movies, and I would be like, what the fuck? I'm just leaving. I'm not watching a movie. Like I pay for like, this is not doing anything for me. And like that got me marked as like problematic, that I don't want to just watch movies like in school. I never really liked movies. I have ADD. I like movies more now, but like the idea of watching a movie, not only was it like, this isn't learning anything, it's also just like, this is not fun or interesting to me like it might be for other people. And but yeah, it fucking sucked. That's the only schooling I had. What about you, Kevin? You do college or anything? I can't remember.
I went to community college for less than a year. And decided that was not what I wanted to do. Kind of the same thing, because it just felt like high school, and my expectations were a lot higher. And then I also kind of realized most of the way through that I was never going to use the degree I was getting. So why?
Yeah.
Kevin, you strike me as someone who was popular in high school.
No, I was the biggest dork you could possibly have imagined. Yeah.
Kevin looked exactly the same as he does now back then, which, when you're different, people really treat you strangely, and they're like, wow, this is like a 30-year-old man or something, and he's like carrying a little briefcase around. Yeah, full beard.
I actually did just find my community college ID. So while you guys are talking, let me see if I can find it.
Hell yes. Funny story about my community college. So a guy that I was good friends with in like grade school and high school, his dad and his older brother played on the same community college football team. And they were like the first like father-son collegiate football duo ever. And it got them booked on the 700 Club.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see there being interest in that. It's definitely a feel good story. I mean, it's also a feel bad story in a way, you know, just about society. But yeah, that's so crazy. Where you at, Kevin? You get it? You find it?
Not yet. I'm still.
We'll get there.
Okay.
So okay. So you have some movie credits, and I remember, I think it was maybe on what was it called? What a Time to Be Alive or something, like, where you talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
I like that podcast. But so, like, how did you fall into that? Like, how did that happen?
Like I said, I went to San Francisco State because I wanted to do movies. So I had been writing. I've been writing as long as I can remember, like in grade school when they did like book fair books. Like I did, like, you know, you do one a year. I don't know if that was a thing where you guys did a thing. Like in grade school, we had like an annual thing where it's like, if kids want to write a book, they can write a book, and then it'll be like shown at a local book fair or whatever.
I don't think we had anything quite like that.
Yeah, I mean, when I say book, it's like 4 pages, and you like tie it together with ribbon, you know. But so I wrote a couple of those like in like early grade school, and they were like really well received. And then, like, either 3rd or 4th grade, I wrote a book, and I drew the illustrations for. I wrote the book Transformers the Movie 2, and every kid I knew who read it like went nuts for it, and they were like, "This is the best book. This is amazing." And then every year after that, they were like, "You should do another one of those Transformers books." So that's how long I've been writing. But I really started writing in high school, and then in community college, I took a bunch of creative writing classes, and I did, you know, all that stuff, and I wanted to start writing scripts, and then I wanted to get into the movies, and I wanted to write, because I was an actor. Like I said, I was like an actor in drama school and drama class in high school. So I had always heard about how hard it was to be an actor. So I was like, oh, I don't want to, you know, I can't compete with anyone who's acting, so I'll be a writer because that'll probably be easier. And that's the joke. So I went to school to get into the movies, and I sort of emphasized screenwriting when I was taking my combo TV, movie, radio bachelor's thing. And I was in that program with a bunch of really good friends who were also trying to break into Hollywood, or, you know, whatever you want to call the entertainment industry. And after we all graduated, actually a lot of them were a year younger than me, but like after they all graduated, they all, you know, they were spending their summers interning. So they would go to Cal State Monterey Bay, and then they would go to Los Angeles to intern for the summer, and then come back and start like making connections there. And then after they graduated, they all went to Los Angeles. I couldn't afford to do free unpaid internships during the summer. So I just spent my summers like writing scripts. And then after they all graduated, I chose to remain in Northern California and like help my dad out and be close to my dad, who needed a lot of assistance, rather than move to LA. So I kept writing scripts in that time, and I had one co-writer who I'm still co-writers with to this day, who was, oh yes, oh my goodness,
Kevin's showing us. Show the camera, Kevin. But Kevin's showing us his thing. Man, you're looking pretty good, Kevin. I think that's back in the day.
Is that what you were expecting?
I mean, not quite, but this tracks. I can definitely imagine you carrying a what the fuck? You were a webmaster back then?
I was, yes, way back then, yes.
I can definitely imagine the kid with a student ID like carrying a trumpet case. Like, I'm sure I saw someone that looked exactly like that in like my junior high school or something, you know.
So you were the webmaster for the official Mortal Kombat 4 website?
Yes, I was. Wow. And that was only because nobody else at Midway wanted to do it. So I was the one who got stuck doing that on top of my regular job.
That's really fantastic.
And
what a claim to fame.
Yeah, so just for the podcast, Kevin showed a screenshot of him being interviewed on some sort of TV station, and it had the title Webmaster, www.mk4.com. What was that, Kevin? Why were you being interviewed? Do you remember?
It was Iron indicated it was a Mortal Kombat television station.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
for the release of Mortal Kombat 4 when it came out. We did, I worked at Midway during the release of that, and we did this big road tour, and I'm not really sure why, but like we got these like U-Haul trucks and painted the Mortal Kombat logo on the side of them, and then drove arcade games around to arcades around the country to let people play it for like 5 minutes.
That's awesome. So that was, you had a job in that picture then, huh?
Yes. Yes. I had the website that told you where to go to play the game.
Okay. Yeah. That's so crazy. But you worked for Midway at the time?
Yes.
And what was your job at Midway? It was just being a webmaster, or was it one of your side duties?
That's side duty. Like at that point, I was a game designer / programmer. But I was the only like internet guy at the time. So they're like, "Can you make the website?" And I said, "Sure."
Wow, insane. You design any games, Kevin?
Yeah, but nothing any good.
Apparently.
I did a lot of work. So, Midway's real known for like Pac-Man and Mortal Kombat and NBA Jam and all these things. Most of my time was spent on this like bar top touchscreen trivia game kind of thing. Like had trivia and cards and,
Sure.
that kind of thing. That was what I worked on.
I mean, that gets a lot of play across the nation. Do you think that stuff's still in kiosks and such?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't been sold for 20 some years now, but I still see them occasionally. I'll go to an old arcade or a bar that, can't afford newer games, and I'll still see them there.
Yeah, Bill, I don't know how much of a That Happens fan you are, but some of this, what we learn about Kevin is he's apparently the most interesting person in the world. Which I think kind of feeds nicely into one of our recurring segments, which is What's Kevin's Deal, where we ask the guest to try and formulate some sort of deal that's Kevin's deal and ask him if that's his deal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely familiar with What's Kevin's Deal.
Oh, okay, good.
So I mean, part of that was part of what I was asking when I was asking if he was popular in high school, just because he's sort of like, you sort of look like everyone who was popular at high school when I went to high school, and when I went to high school. Like you have that look about you, but the vibe, the deal I get is sort of like just generally a guy who's happy to be here, and sort of like you're at a good place, and so you like to lend your assistance to people and just try and be helpful. Like you're just like a decent dude in general. So you just chip in where you can, and you try to be a good friend to people.
Must be fucking nice.
I know, right?
I mean, I think that's reasonably accurate. Yeah.
Are you in a good place, Kevin?
Say again?
Are you in a good place?
I think so. I'd like to think so. Yeah.
Kevin's in the good place.
Oh my God, I wish.
So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the concept of spoon theory. It's about mental health. It breaks your ability to achieve tasks and handle setbacks and adversity into units called spoons. So some days you have a lot of spoons, some days you don't have very many spoons, and it takes spoons to, say, call the DMV. It takes spoons to deal with a personal friends, like issues. You guys familiar with this? All of this to say, a lot of people have spoons. Kevin has a whole fucking Tupperware drawer. Like he can handle all of our shit and more, is how it feels. I don't know. Maybe that's just the vibe he gives off, but he definitely, he can handle a lot more than me. I'll tell you that. I wish Kevin was in charge and I was just, taking orders,
The world's not ready for that.
I think that is. I think Kevin hides a lot of, I shouldn't be saying this on the show. It goes out publicly, but Kevin's in the Illuminati. He does, in fact, control the world and pull the strings in a sort of shadow government for us all. And let's just say, he's holding back a lot of bullshit that would otherwise be hitting the collective fans of our, world, I think. Or, solar system, to be honest, But
I'm like that time traveler that keeps going back trying to fix things, but somehow making things slightly worse.
Like an Umbrella Academy. You guys watch Umbrella Academy on Netflix, created by Gerard Way.
I am very behind. I watched the first season and perhaps started the second season. It's on my list of things that I need to get to. But I read the comics.
Nice. They just came out with the new season 3, I believe, and I hated it. I did not like it. Everyone was acting very mean and being irrational. It felt like the characters were just acting like they were acting because that would create the conflict that the show was running on, rather than it really making sense or following naturally from their character motivations or grief or trauma and stuff. And it was just like that the whole season. And it's like, I mean, it doesn't go well. It's supposed to be kind of like an all is lost kind of moment sort of thing. It's supposed to be like, oh, this is really bad. And it's like, yeah, it is really bad. And also, you deserve this. You guys suck. Like, this should be happening to you. It really, I don't know. I really liked the first 2 seasons, and the third season, it had interesting stuff in it. I just did not. I was just like, I was out because it's like, you guys are pieces of shit. I hope you all die, But yeah. Don't not to get too spoilery or anything, but yeah, that was my general vibe. And I talked to someone else who watched it, and that was kind of their vibe too. I mean, there's stuff to like in it. I'm glad I watched it. I don't know. I don't know. Here's the thing about me, and maybe this makes me an idiot who should never make television, but I just want television that's nice and everyone's having a good time and no one's yelling or getting mad, like,
yeah, I know that I loved, that's why I loved The Good Place so much. Like, just a joyous television show. It's great. That's why I loved, the Netflix film RRR, which is, sort of like if Zack Snyder, was able to have the capacity for joy. It's just like the piggyback fight scene is like one of the most wonderful things I've seen in a long time. Just joyousness. Like, even like the Ted Danson, Mr. Mayor show. Like, just like I appreciate stuff like that where it's like, it's not necessarily punching up or punching down, and it's not necessarily like trying to do anything like revolutionary or anything like uber clever. It's just something that's like, where it's like people sort of like trying their best and being like relatively decent to each other, like Abbott Elementary, that's another one, that where it's like just people like that are like more or less enjoying each other and not being too shitty to each other, and like just like making earnest attempts to like do okay, like that's the sort of stuff that I enjoy.
Yeah, like, I like Breaking Bad and stuff, but prestige television has really sold you on this like adrenaline junking, like, oh my God, I shot my mom and now I got to kill the president. And, it's just like, I'm on the edge of my seat. Better Call Saul is amazing because it has like the intensity of Breaking Bad with such lower stakes. Like, I'm just as like white knuckling the whole way through that show, but it's like, all that matters is this like guy's going to go to jail, or he's not even going to be killed, because like I've seen Breaking Bad, but like, it's so tense, and it's like, I like that, but I don't know.
I love that too. It just, like you gotta temper stuff. It can't always be so bleak. Like, even like Peacemaker is like a lot of really grim shit, but it's like, I mean, a lot of it, John Cena does some extremely heavy lifting in that show, but like a lot of it is just like, you can tell how much fun the people who are making it are having, and that goes a long way. Like, there's some extremely funny shit in that show that makes me like really jazzed to watch it. And there's a lot of gore and stuff in it, but like, I mean, The Boys is a lot like that too. The Boys is yet another example of like Garth Ennis, like one of like the shittiest like edgelord creators of anything. Like, I like that people keep providing examples of like Garth Ennis can come up with an okay concept that if someone else adapts it, it will be really good. But if it's just left up to Garth Ennis, it's going to be like 60 to 100 comic book issues of like the worst edgelord shit that you've ever seen in your entire life. So like, I appreciate that the Boys is able to take a very edgy, extremely gory, extremely edgy show, but still like have it be populated with people that you sort of give a shit about, and like also like pepper it with enough stuff where you're sort of like the shock factor isn't like to repulse you so much as to like exhilarate you. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading it incorrectly.
Well, I don't know. I think that, like, yeah. So to me, the gore and stuff isn't like super off-putting because it's so big. Peacemaker's the same way. It's also arch that I think that like you kind of can remove yourself a little from it. And Peacemaker, a lot of like the white knuckling and stuff is more about his past and his trauma and his character stuff, you know, more than it is like I don't know. Like I'm not super hung up on the fate of the world, even when you see like all the aliens and stuff. It's like I'm sure it's gonna be fine. But Boys, I think, was grounded enough that I'm like, he's gonna die. He is going to die. He's gonna die. And like, so I feel like I was pretty tense watching that, but it is really good. I think it's because of how grounded they managed to present this superhero world. It's like, it's part of why it's so compelling. It really feels real. You almost don't even think like this is fantasy. It's like, no, this is like the real world. And so, yeah, for me, that's really tense. You know, I liked RRR. I'll tell you this. I really liked RRR. You watch RRR, Kevin?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh my God. Kevin fucking never watches the stuff that we're supposed to talk about on the show. Kevin's known for weeks that I have had you scheduled and we're going to do a big RRR discussion. No, but RRR was really great. But I'll tell you this. I don't know. This is more on me. Because you know the conventions of Bollywood, kind of like arch Bollywood action and stuff. Like literally, like a guy will jump over a bridge and then he'll punch a semi truck and send it to the moon or something. You know, I think RRR was like pretty grounded. Like I think the opening sequence with the mob fight and then the tiger fight and then I even think when he released all the animals and stuff, that felt pretty grounded to me. And then like the medicine stuff was obviously kind of ridiculous, but at the same time it's like you buy it, it's fine, you know. But everything else I was like, this is straight. Like you could release this movie somewhere else and it wouldn't get eyebrows or anything. And I was kind of expecting it to be crazier or like, you know, but really intense. And so in that sense, that was a bit of a letdown to me, but I was enjoying, like I was having a blast the whole time through. It was just like, there was just something that was hard for me to put my finger on. And I think that's what it was. But even saying that makes me sound negative.
There's long stretches of that movie where it's like nothing really like insane is happening.
It's
and
great though. It's all good stuff.
Yeah, I think that you're right that it's a little bit more toned down than you would generally expect from a Bollywood or Tollywood film of this nature. But I think that it's possible that the reason why it's a little bit toned down is because the two main characters in the movie are like real historical people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's these are like like the two main characters are were real revolutionaries in the 1900s to 1920s to 1940s. And I like the writer director apparently was looking at the lives of the two people and like how they overlapped and how they shared common goals, and was like, what if there was a movie where these two real historical figures who are heroes to the Indian people, what if they had met and become good friends? Which I think is a good fanfic. But I think that, it's possible that that's why it's a little bit more grounded than. Oh,
it must be 100%. Yeah. Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, at the end, they do the dance number and they're invoking the historical figures, and then you're seeing them on the background and stuff. And I'm like, I wonder what history am I completely missing, because it's obviously not nothing, but I just figured, this was a real revolution or something. And then they fictionalized it. But yeah, I had no idea that they were real people. So yeah, of course they would want to at least, you can make it arch and make a guy fight a tiger and stuff, or, outstrength the tiger, but it's a different matter to just be and then he went to the moon and shot eye lasers or whatever.
I think my favorite thing about foreign action movies is how the white villains are always so just despicably vile and evil and just so over the top, just the word I think that you and I should both strive to be cast as white devils in a foreign action movie someday. Like I would love that so much, just to be able to, like, the Ip Man series and like this movie, like just like the worst fucking people that you've ever imagined, or like the Englishmen, or the colonizers that are just there stealing children, shooting pregnant women and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they were bad, but I was like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, that to me felt the most grounded. Like, yeah, I'm sure this.
No, it's great. It's just you never see that here. You never see that here. And even when it's a movie that's like made by like white Americans or like white like UK people, where like a person of color or like a non-white entity is like the villain, they're never like the devil. But like anytime there's a white villain in a foreign action film, they are like it's like just straight up Lucifer, like just the worst. Like and I just appreciate that, like that you don't have to pull the punches, because like there's no way to oppress white people, so you could just go ahead and like really lean into like these people should all be dead.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, you don't have to make it campy. You don't have to like put like an interesting angle where it's like maybe he has a point, like, you know, I don't know, Killmonger or something. It's not like a lot of villains in Marvel movies. They usually have, it's usually like a question of like motivations versus like methods, where it's like, oh, you know, Zemo he's right, but that doesn't justify what he's done or whatever, you know. And it's like it's supposed to kind of, I don't know, you know, like this is a rant I've been on, but you know, I think a lot of Western storytelling, like monomyth stuff, is kind of an inherently fascist, because it's about like us like doing good things outside of the law, using extrajudicial force, generally to kill people or stop people, and it's good, and usually whatever safeguards are intact or in place to, you know, prevent people from abusing their power are cast as the enemy. It's like, if only it weren't for these rules, I wouldn't have to be such a loose cannon cop or whatever. So superhero stories often break down to like, the superhero is good because he follows the letter of the law, and thus he earns his superpower that he gets to cast judgment on people. Whereas the villain, they might have a good point and come from a more morally recognizable and more morally right standpoint, but because they engage in this outside of the law sort of justice that they don't have the right to use to enact their, you know, greater ethical agenda in their mind, you know, that's what gives them the death sentence to be handed down by the you know, the hero, who generally is unwilling to kill the person but ends up killing them anyway, and it's fine, you know. And so, you know, that's just like a cop who, for instance, shoots an innocent person, you know, because the system doesn't let you do it, because you need a warrant or whatever, you know. It's like, I don't know. It's not like Insidious. I think it's just the messaging overlaps and loses its meaning, and it just becomes tropes, and people just internalize the tropes, and the end result is like, yeah, for sure. I could go out and become Kyle Rittenhouse or something, you know.
Anyone can.
Yeah. Man,
see, that's why he's a hero to the right, is because it's so attainable.
Yeah, but it's also, yeah, it's like, that's what they want, you know. They want to have that ability. I think, you know, it's not even just that they want all of us dead. It's more that they want us to be available as punching bags and targets whenever they get pissed, you know. And if we were just all extinct, then what? They would kill their parents or whatever, you know. It's like, it's not as good unless it's the demonized other to kick around. But boy, man, you know, I don't know when this is going to come out, but we're so fucked, you guys. I mean, I'm not going to say you guys have no idea, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know. On some level, I knew it was going to be too late when Trump won. I was like, no matter what happens, it's still done. We're still done. It's just all the pieces haven't fallen yet, you know. And it seems like it's being more true every day. But hey, good news. In Maryland, they lifted the assault rifle ban. So if you're, you know, living in Maryland, you know, outside of Washington, D.C., you know, you can get legal access to an assault rifle, and who knows what you could do with one of those, you know. Kevin, cut that from the podcast. I don't want to get arrested. But you know, it's just, it's not good. Jesus Christ. So but how did you? Okay, so we talked about movie college, but how did that translate into the actual projects? Was it connections you made in college, or like what?
So I never, like I said, I never stopped writing scripts, and my writing partners and whatever little whatever few connections I made, I would continue to try and push for that, because like no matter what I'm doing or no matter what I have done, I've always had the ability to like continue to write, and I still have dozens of projects that I can still write someday. But I've never managed to get an agent, but I had a co-writer who was getting like some stuff and knew some people and had some representation. So I've always co-written with him, and it just so happened that a handful of years ago, the one thing that I was always known for, like from college on, is that I could write really fast. And like I actually ended up writing like 80% of the scripts for the script writing class at my college, because other people were just like unable to do it. So I would just like knock out scripts, and then I was able to write like a feature script in a couple days back then.
That's awesome.
Not so much now, but I was known for being able to work fast. So my friend had done a movie for Asylum before. Asylum, the mockbuster company, the company that makes Sharknado and Transmorphers, and the previous model was like trying to fool people who are renting stuff at Redbox, and that model is a little bit different now, but people know who Asylum is. So he had worked with Asylum before. And he was doing a thing. I was actually in vacation. I was actually on vacation in Hawaii, and he either texted me or emailed me, and he was like, "Hey, Asylum needs a movie, wants to do a movie, and I can help you with the treatment, but I'm going to be tied up on something. But they need the script in 2 weeks."
Wow.
And he's like, "Do you want to help me with this?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. I would love to do an Asylum movie." And it was about a volcano. It was about Vesuvius erupting again, and it was very coincidentally coming out at the same time that the Pompeii movie was coming out. So I was like, yeah, of course I'll do that. So we did the treatment thing, and that got approved by Asylum. And then I very stupidly did what I thought I was supposed to do, and I wrote an Asylum movie that was full of jokes and just like crazy deaths and just like goofy shit. And Asylum looked at it, and they were like, "This is not how we operate. This is not how we do things." And that was the movie where I learned that how Asylum movies work is they need to have like the most serious, straight script that you can possibly get, because they're trying to cast actual actors in these movies. So they need to send these scripts to like, Christopher Lambert's agent, or, whoever, like legitimate people who like work as actors or have worked as actors for decades. That movie has Gimli in it. And I'm sure that he, his agent wanted to look at a very serious script. So the way Asylum movies work is they get a completely on the level script to cast people. And then once the movie's in production, that's when the Asylum of it all happens, because they will fuck everything up, or like through sheer ineptitude or on purpose, or they'll just let an actor just do whatever the fuck he wants on set after they've cast him, which is what happened in the case of Gimli, right. who was just like chewing every available inch of scenery when I finally saw the movie. And I was like, I didn't write a word of this. He's just having the time of his life out there. But so that movie was funny because they went to, I believe, Budapest or Bulgaria I think they went to Bulgaria to film the movie. And it was a 2-week shoot. And they got to the end of week 1, and they sent us a frantic message because they were off for the weekend. They sent us frantic messages. We need you guys to rewrite this entire script to write this one character to be as minimal as possible, because the guy that they cast, they absolutely hate his guts. and they don't want to work with him anymore. And I was like, well, can I just kill him in an early scene? They're like, we already shot the ending. No, he's going to be there. Just have him not doing anything or saying anything. So we had to rewrite the script in a day and send it back to them. And I found out afterwards when I finally saw the finished product that like one of the actors like that was like playing a very minimal role was like also the line producer, and so like he was like tossing in his own like he like gave himself a runner in the script, and like it was just, it's just so hilarious. It was a really interesting experience to me where I was like, yeah, I really want to write an asylum movie. I'm going to write an asylum movie, and I wrote an asylum movie, and they didn't want that at all. And then
no, we want to ruin it ourselves.
Yeah. So then when I saw like the finished product, I was like, man, I can only imagine like how much had to have gone wrong there. So at this point, I've written five or six or seven movies for Asylum. And sadly, they're not a WGA job. So the pay is worth it the first couple times, but then diminishing returns, I guess. But it's fun. It's a fun experience. At this point, I would be more interested in like helping shepherd other people towards Asylum as I was shepherded towards them. I don't even know if they're really doing a bunch these days, but right. Yeah, no, it was just an interesting experience. And then like from there, like my co-writer and I kept writing stuff, and he did I co-wrote a movie for him that had Tom Sizemore in, that came out a couple years ago. I think you can find it on some streaming services. I honestly don't remember what it's called now. It was called Blue Line the whole time we were writing it and put it out, but it's on my IMDb. You can find out what it's called now. But there's like stuff you can find on streaming services. Like you can find that first movie I wrote, or there's a few of the Asylum movies that I've written that I've never actually seen. So
once you see it the first time, I'm sure it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure something's going to happen, and I have no relation to it anymore.
I've heard really bad things about one of the movies I wrote for them called Alien Predator,
right?
Which came out when the Predator came out. I can't remember anyone's name right now. Tim Black, what's the guy's name? The director of the last one, the guy who wrote Iron Man 3 and the Lethal Weapon movies. Shane Black. Shane Black is his name. Shane Black. Okay. He the last Predator movie that he directed. That was Alien Predator was designed to come out at the same time as that one. So that's like, I
used to work at Borders, and there was movies on the shelf that were clearly supposed to trick like old people or whatever. And so like we had Ratatouille, which is like this really cheesy, poorly done 3D movie. And I don't know, there's some people with good sense of humor, so we would like get all those movies and put them on like staff picks and stuff, just because it was like, people need to see this, Did you
ever see the Red Letter Media where they forced Patton Oswalt to watch Ratatouille?
No, I have never even heard of that. That's awesome.
Red Letter Media, the guys who do like Best of the Worst, and they did a one where Patton Oswalt was guesting on. They were doing like Plinko with bad movies or Spin the Wheel with bad movies or whatever, and then they rigged it so that Ratatouille would come up while he was there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to try and write. I have tried to write, and I can't. Screenplays are just so specifically like not my wheelhouse, and I don't really have a good foundation. I've read books and stuff, but I don't know. Maybe if I went to school or something, I'd have more of a baseline to go off of. But I just feel so hopeless. Like I'll try to do something, and then it just will be like, I'll try to shit it out, and then I'll look at it, and it's like, I can't use any of this. I have to start completely from square one. I get really self-defeating and stuff. It's really hard. And I don't know, just like, I hate conflict. I've spent a lot of my young life trying to think of ways, just idling my brain, just being like, oh, if this situation comes up, maybe I'll handle it like this. Like I hate conflict. I'm always trying to get out of conflict. It makes me uncomfortable to like imagine conflict, which is a lot of what trying to come up with, trying to break a story is. And it just sucks. Like I still kind of on some level maybe entertain the idea of trying to like push harder in that direction, but I don't even have like like even like a first draft like TV show pilot or something that I could show anyone. It's a real shame. I mean, your ability to write fast seems like a really true gift.
I mean, like I got a toddler now, so it's not as fast as it once was. But in a pinch, I can do it. Well, you know what I will say is that I've worked with a lot of co-writers in the past where the co-writer has like come up with the idea and I've written the script. So
see, that's what I need, man. I need another person I can work with, like that can actually, like, I have a lot of good ideas, you know. I'm good at feedback and stuff. I'm developing a thing where, or you know, maybe we'll be developing. Sounds like it's a more sure thing than it is. It's basically like a glorified pilot writing session, essentially. Sure. But you know, I think everybody that I'm working with generally likes my feedback and my opinions and stuff. And often, you know, when we get feedback from the network and stuff, it's like shit I was saying. You know, so that makes me feel pretty good or bad, depending on, you know, how smart the network is. But, you know, I don't know. I feel like I have good ideas and then I can come up with, I just like actually getting it into a passable form. I don't know. It just escapes me. I'm really bad at it. But you know what I'm good at, Bill, is talking about soda. And boy, howdy. It is a Baja summer, the second Baja summer. Last year was a Baja summer. They debuted 2 new flavors, and this year they've done the same. Although we've heard Bill showing off the goods, baby. We've heard tell that there's actually a secret flavor, a secret Baja flavor that you can only get through if you win a contest, and you enter the contest through entering the bottle cap codes that are on the underside of the bottle cap. So if you aren't going to enter the contest, Bill, I will ask that you send me pictures of the bottle cap.
Yeah, no, I'll send them to you for sure.
Because I really do want to win this contest. I really want to taste this flavor of Baja. I think Kevin might be trying to avail himself of back channels to kind of get us some nepotism soda. I'm offended on your behalf that you are not a Mountain Dew ambassador, as Dan was once a Kettle One ambassador. I'm offended for you. Yeah, I know that every 2-bit podcaster like says, "Oh, we mentioned Dyson vacuum cleaners, so why don't they give us a free advertising contract or something?" You know, and they get really too big for their britches. But I swear to God, I have moved units of Mountain Dew through this podcast. Like I really have. I think at the very least. And you know, when I was on Harmontown, they sent me some Mountain Dew Reserve, like Black Label, I think they called it. It was like a special kind of like high end kind of Mountain Dew, but the package, they sent me a nice bottle or a nice bottles or cans maybe, and then these nice or drinking glasses, and then these nice metal ice cubes that, you know, they're reusable ice cubes, but they were packaged in a bad way so that the rocks, the ice cubes were inside the glasses loose. Oof. So in transit, they shattered the glasses, and then the glass shards punctured the bottle or cans. And so it was just this sticky, rotting, kind of smelling sour mess by the time it got to me. And I think I might have like tweeted about it like, haha, this is so funny. Or I didn't because I was ashamed, or maybe I did like an Instagram story or something. I don't know. But like, I didn't like post about it like an influencer would. And so I don't know if they like just like, or if I did, it was like, isn't this silly? And I wasn't like, this sucks. I was like, you know, I really appreciate the gesture if I did, you know, because I knew that it was a very kind thing that they were doing. But since then, I don't think they've really sent me anything. And I feel bad about it. I don't think it was my fault at all. I still feel bad about it though. But it's a shame. They really ought to be sending me this stuff. You know, Kevin's been picking up the slack Kevin's the king of the internet, and you know, he's been using his powers of evil. Yeah, Kevin's showing Typhoon.
Preview. Right? We're not gonna do this tonight, I don't think, but we've got the unreleased Mountain Dew Typhoon here.
Yeah, well, it was released in 2010, part of the Democracy 2. I did some research, but yeah, we're not going to be trying that. But we are going to be trying the Baja. Do you have a preference, Bill? Is there one that you want to try first? And keep in mind, it is 9:20. You probably don't want to drink too much of this stuff.
No, you just whatever. I defer to the master on this one.
All right, let's go with the mango gem. You guys got your mango gem? Who wants to smell first? Gem. Kevin's got it. You want to do the smell test, Kevin?
Sure. Okay, cracking it open now. Oh, it's strongly mango. Like I would have instantly guessed this is mango. Almost like mango creamsicle, a little bit smell to it though.
It's a bit sharp, sour.
Yeah.
Like mango, I don't think of as super tart, but it is tart. It has tartness, I would say.
Yeah, it definitely smells like a mango drink. I don't know if I'm sensing any Mountain Dew notes yet, but it smells mango.
What about you, Bill? You get anything?
Yeah, that's a lot of fruit smell.
Yeah,
it's very evocative of fruit in a way that many fruit flavored, like a Fanta doesn't smell like this. Like you can sort of like when you smell it, you can sort of taste the back of the throat mango or
the aromatics,
the fruit in your mouth. I also like this guy, this little like octopus man, pirate octopus.
He's like a pirate. Yeah, he looks like he's probably a friend of the Major Melon.
The other bottle's got like a pineapple deep sea diver.
Oh, that guy kicks ass! Holy shit! I like that guy better for sure.
That guy
both are great. Yeah.
I want some lore like the Soggies from Cap'n Crunch.
Yeah.
What's this guy's story?
Yeah, exactly. Nerds, the Candy released D&D modules, like adventure modules for one-on-one D&D campaigns. Very strange and interesting. Very cool. Amazing. I sign off on them. We played one a little bit one time with my friend Abby, and I would definitely be down to write some D&D Mountain Dew lore with these characters.
Is the D&D adventure different depending on which side you look at the book?
I think, how it works is there's 7 different ones that you unlock in order, and then if you get all 7, then they give you a mega one, and they're all like the colors of the rainbow, I think, or the colors of the different nerds or something.
It's awesome.
I don't know.
Like that.
It was pretty crazy. It's very, very silly, but I don't know. It's crazy. Who wants to go first? Bill, you go first.
I'll do the do.
Do that. Do you do?
That's nice. I like it. It's it doesn't taste as strong as it smells, I would say. But it also might be because this has warmed to a bit cooler than room temperature while we've been podcasting. But
yeah, I've noticed that. I was surprised actually. I feel like a lot of times it'll stay cooler than it did. I don't know.
Well, it's been very hot. It's been very hot.
That's true. Yeah. You want to go, Kevin?
Yeah, sure. Let me give this a try.
Kevin's giving it a try.
I honestly like that a lot, though.
Yeah, it's really mango-y, very fresh, very. It doesn't taste as artificially as I thought it was going to.
Yeah,
Spencer's trying it too.
Based on how it smelled, I would have expected it to be much sugary, like much more flavorful. But I like that it isn't.
Yeah, it maintains a lot of tartness, just kind of like the smell. It has some syrupiness. It's 280 calories, which is I think a bit on the higher end of Mountain Dew. But yeah, it's not over, this mango flavor at least is pretty authentic, like strawberry flavor doesn't taste like real strawberries, banana, etc. Even watermelon doesn't taste like real watermelon, but this does taste like a real pure kind of classic mango flavor. Which is great. It's kind of low key. It's like it's nice for a tropical drink. It's kind of sip worthy, like you can nurse it for a while.
It's honestly like it's more towards the orange soda end of the spectrum. Not just because of the color of orange soda, but it evokes that more closely than it evokes something that's like truly tropical to me.
Yeah, I think Mountain Dew does have some kind of orange juice generally in the base recipe, but you generally think of it more as like a lemon lime. But yeah, this to me also maybe has some kind of tangerine-ness, I would say, this kind of mild, sweeter citrus.
Yeah, and I am getting a little bit of the like classic Mountain Dew at the very back end of it.
Yeah, in these newer flavors, they seem to have less of the dew. Like that's always been the thing. Like Code Red is like, it's a shot of red with that Mountain Dew blast, and a lot of the stuff is like that, But yeah, this one is for sure. It's less on the dew spectrum, more on just the fruit spectrum. But now we want to try this Baja Gold. We are running out of time, but I think Kevin's okay. Hopefully.
Okay, so I'm sniffing it here. Yeah, this is very pineapple-y. I mean, it's very similar to the one we just, replaced mango with pineapple, and it's very similar.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
a little bit of other citrus in there too, like a little bit of lemon, or I don't know. What do you? Oh, Spencer's trying the real.
Trying to snort it.
Yeah, Spencer's trying to snort it.
I feel like this is a much more. I feel like this is a much more sedate smell than the last one, and I don't know how much that owes to the temperature of it, but I also like pineapple isn't as strong a smell as mango in general, I think.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot less kind of sticks in the air. I would say the warmer it gets, the more you would expect to smell it. I think so. That's interesting, but yeah, it's a lot more muted in the smell. Let's let Kevin go first. You want to go first, Kevin?
Sure.
Take a draft. I don't know how you. Anyway,
okay.
Kevin's thinking.
I like this one a lot less than the other one because it kind of has like a cleaner, like a floor cleaner feel to it,
like a Lysol kind of lemon.
Yeah. I don't know how to explain it. It's not so much that it's unpleasant, but it's just not what I associate with a drink. Like it needs something else to it.
Yeah,
by itself,
like
it's not enough of a flavor, I don't think.
Yeah. Bill,
what do you think, Bill?
What do you think?
The other one tasted closer to how a mango actually tastes, and this tastes a lot closer to how artificial pineapple taste.
Yeah. What I will say is that I've had these before, which is something I don't always, usually it's my first time with the soda. It kind of changes the way I review it. But I will say that it tastes different now, and I do believe that's because we did the mango earlier. I think like the overwhelming sweetness, or I think the strong flavor of the mango is kind of like occupying the taste buds in a way that starts to mute the pineapple a little bit. But I do think your reviews are on straight anyway. I think that the pineapple is still it's still more muted. It's lower in the mix, so to speak. So yeah, and then I will also say that, like I said, I tried it, and then I wanted to do a side by side with pineapple Fanta. And when I had this, I was like, this is really good. This is like a solid pineapple soda. And then when I had the Fanta, I was like, oh no, like this is a pineapple soda. It's like, this is kind of just like a tier down, like a couple tiers down from what you'd expect from pineapple soda. It has a bit more of the dew citrus in it, which again, it continues to mute the kind of pineapple a little bit. Whereas and since it's so pineapple-y, it's like, yeah, you might as well just go for the genuine article with like a pineapple Fanta or something. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, that's all right on.
Yeah, I like the Fanta much better than this. Like, I don't think I would ever get the Mountain Dew Gold again, but the mango for sure.
I'm not a big fan of artificial pineapple in general, but like this, I do like that this is not. I do like that the Baja Gold is not like it's very mild, like all things considered. Like it's not lingering like the Mango Gem lingered, but I like the way the Mango Gem tasted a bunch more. So.
Yeah, I definitely like it a lot. It sounds like I like it the most out of everybody. I also like the mango jam less. I don't know why. It certainly is a competent and good execution of mango, but for whatever, maybe I just don't like mango as much. I don't know. But so like I would like this a lot in a vacuum, but then after having the pineapple Fanta, it's like, no, holy, like this is how you do it, So in that kind of environment, I think it's kind of a bummer that it doesn't stand on its own so much. Oh my God, Bill, you play Sonic? You ever play Sonic?
Yeah, no, I've played Sonic a lot. I don't live Sonic as Ryan Ridley said, but I do understand what it's like to run out of air while you're underwater in the aquatic zone.
Fun fact, Aquatic Zone is a great level. Fun fact, the original music is from Marble Zone, which does not have, and we're out of time, folks. No, it doesn't have a water area, but I just, when I got the idea in my head, it just sounded so much better with the Marble Hill Zone.
No, all sounds perfect.
Yeah, it sounded a lot better.
So evocative.
Right. I tried it other ways, and it didn't hit my ear the same way. And so, yeah, I really like the kind of assembly I did. But yeah, we are out of time. Thanks so much, Bill. You got anything going on? Anything to talk about? Plug. Oh shit! There was a huge thing I wanted to talk about was wrestling in your fucking book. I'm so sorry. I had a great talk, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll happily come back. If you would like to talk to me again. But yes, I wrote I wrote an unauthorized history of WWE, which was very up to date up until the latest Vince McMahon stuff. But yeah, it's called "We Promised You a Great Main Event." You can find it everywhere. It's pretty cheap in hardcover on Amazon right now, and you can get it on audiobook and Kindle and all the options. That's out on HarperCollins with amazing artwork in it by Lauren Moran, who is well known within the pro wrestling community as a fantastic illustrator. But yeah, wrote a book about pro wrestling, and I'm happy. I'm very proud of it, and I hope more people will want to read it. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, check
and then
that
I'm
out.
on all social at Sundown Motel.
Sundown Motel on all the things. But yeah, I do want to actually talk that book. I do not like wrestling at all. I understand the appeal in the sense that like I get why people like it. I'm not like, it's fake, right? But I still like, it's just not my bag, whatever. But I am very interested in talking about that. It is interesting to me. It's just not. It's not good. I don't like it. I wish it would go away.
No, I would love to. I would absolutely love to have a conversation about it with you sometime, especially given how you feel about it. I think that we could have a really good conversation about that.
Awesome. What about you, Kevin? What's coming up next on Trophy?
So probably what's coming up next, if we're going to insert this into an episode later, is going to be the Best Channel 101. Followed by Real Life Sci-Fi with what's I'm sure going to be an amazing guest, and then maybe another Found Crap, or I don't know.
There's going to be another Found Crap. Come on.
We'll see.
Cyberpunk Megazone, maybe, but
we had a Found Crap last week.
Yeah, that's why there's not going to be another one anytime soon. Are you kidding me? Anyway, what about me? What about me, Kevin? We got to monetize the podcast, Kevin. I need more money. I was telling Kevin, I need more money. It's not your guys' fault. If you're listening to it, it's not your fault. I don't know.
It is. Give Spencer money, everybody. Sign up for
his any artists who want to, I don't know, make merch for me. I'm sure we could work something out. Because we gotta get on that merch train, baby. Spencer waifu pillows, that happens t-shirts, etc. We could go crazy. I think. Who knows? But yeah, give me money. Yeah, not gonna go into specifics on this episode, other than twitch.tv/Frank Cowley, someone else's Twitch stream. Check that out. We play D&D on Tuesdays sometimes. But yeah, we like to end the episode the same way every time. So, as always, I will close with our, weekly Bible reading. Jesus wept.
Starburns Audio.